Yeah.
So let's do chapter 16 here. It's going to be a short one. We're not going to take long. But I'll probably go through some things I'd said in previous weeks. But it's all pretty much repeating the same old thing. So I'm gonna, yeah. So I have the slide up now. So that's what we're reading, Matthew's book. That's the next book, Business Personnel by Bethany Frankel. And it's just a reminder on Martha's website, to get every other resource. And pretty much she starts every chapter with a quote. The one here is better scattered than large wealth scattered. Right. Pretty much a summary of that is we get wealth. It's not just for wealth. It's not to say that I'm a billionaire, I'm a millionaire. If I have so much money and I don't have the experience, that money is useless, right? None of us going to take money into the afterlife. We're here to have a human experience, and money helps us in having that experience, right? We're only going to live once, and once is enough if we live well. Money is a helper. Money is an asset. Money is a tool that helps us to have to live the once opportunity of life well. So that's what money does for us. It's not about having so much money. It's about having money that meets your need, your want, and gives you the experience of living, such that when you get to the end of your life, you can say, I lived. I did not just exist, I lived. I lived a full life. I lived an enjoyable life. I lived a memorable life, right? Not get to the end of your life and start having regrets, right? Money is useless if you end your life with regrets. Money is useful if you end your life and say, I lived a life worth living, right? I lived my vision, I lived my dream. I impacted lives, I impacted people, I impacted the world. I made a difference to the world. The world is not the same because I lived. That is the essence of having money, right? It's not that, oh, he's a rich man, he's a billionaire, I mean, all that's useless, right? That doesn't go anywhere. The real thing that fills the tank is that we lived a life worth living, right? So that's the essence of money. And here we're talking about how that money, our relationship affects that, right? In relationship, we move into what we call an interdependence relationship, right? We all come into this life very dependent, 100% dependent. As we go through life, we come out of dependency and go into a place of independency where we can do things on our own, right? We come into a place of full independency, right? And we can decide to live out the rest of our life independent. But we'll also decide to take our life to another level by entering into what we call an interdependent relationship. I am independent, but I choose to join with another person to live an interdependent life, meaning that I give up some of my independency so that we in our relationship can work, right? In an interdependent relationship, there are three persons. It is you, me, and we, right? All three are important. Some people miss it and get religious and say, hey, we're not married, so it's not you, not me, it is we alone. That is a lie of the devil. That's a lie of the devil. In an interdependent relationship will not work if there's no you and me available. We alone cannot survive. We alone will get tired and die if you and me are not given the necessary time and an opportunity to exist, right? Do you understand what I said? Any question on what I said?
No, I understand.
I understand. All right, great. because I was chatting somewhere in one of my alumni, and someone said, "Oh, me and my wife, and we are not we. There's no you and me anymore. Oh, that means what your wife is agreeing that." I said, when you sit down before the judgment seat of Christ, there's no will. It's you that will give account of yourself, not that, oh, it's because of my husband, it's because of my wife. you know, so people mix it up sometimes and get religious and get carried away until they hit the brick wall, right? The power of we is found in the you and me, right? We also strengthens the you and me, takes it to another level, but all three are important, right? In an interdependent relationship, So because all three are important, we all come into this relationship from different angles. We have different money imprints. Last week, we talked about different money personalities, last week. So we all have different money personalities that has come as a result of our upbringing, our origin, our family, our community, our society, and the way we have interpreted all of that has made us who we are. I mean, for instance, I'm a saver, right? I grew up, saving money is very important to me. I have an emotional attachment to how much money I have in the bank. And I can easily get disturbed if I don't have money in the bank, right? It's just who I am. My walking steps change if I have money in the bank than when I don't have money in the bank. I mean, I'm a risk taker, but there's a limit to the risk I take. There's a confidence that comes in knowing I have money in the bank. Some of that, not everybody's like that, but that's who I am, for instance, right? So if I marry someone that expects me to be running on zero, I will always be uncomfortable. We're gonna have issues. Right? Because who I am is I'm a saver. I believe in saving money. Yes, I take risk, but there's a limit to the risk I take. I don't leave myself 100% exposed. That's just who I am. It doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just who I am. I'm also an empire builder. I love building things. I love building legacy. I love making things big, So then my wife is not necessarily that. My wife is not necessarily a saver, right? She has a bit of tendency to take risk, more risk than I will take, So then we need to manage that, and for years we've had issues in the way we spend money, is different, but so in that wise, she needs to have our money, I need to have my money, then we need to have maybe our money, but we cannot have only our money. We're going to have issues because we don't spend the same way, right? The things I would easily give money for, she would want to hold back. Again, because we're different. I am this first boy, second child of my family of 7, right? She is the last born of our family. So you see, she doesn't have that sense of people after her. I have to live with that sense of people after me, So my level of my level of responsibility and sense of responsibility is different from hers, right? I mean, she has a mind to help people outside, but she doesn't know what it is like to help people in the family.
In the family,
right? But I have to, because I have people after me,
right?
right? So that could bring friction if we don't understand where we are both coming from, right? And that has brought friction in the past. We have to walk through it, right? So yeah, so those are some of the things that can break a family. Again, people don't divorce because they don't love one another, or maybe the word love has dried. It's because they don't understand themselves and they don't know how to live together. I mean, a lot of people that divorce, not because they don't love each other, it's just because they don't know how to live together, because there are issues like this that they don't understand. They don't understand why the other person is thinking this way. If you love me, you must think the way I think,
Right.
That's not because of love. The person is just who he is. It's the way the person has been scarred, right? That's the way the person has grown. That's just who the person is. So for two people to be able to work together, they each first of all need to understand themselves, their strengths and limitations, then discuss together how their we would work. But if you just assume your we would work without understanding each other, there's a tendency to have conflict and misunderstanding. And you think your partner is doing it intentionally against you, but has no clue how it's affecting you because the person thinks that you are like him or her, So those are things we need to understand that would help us, to earn money, grow money, and enjoy money. There are people that have a lot of money, but they are not enjoying it just because they don't understand themselves, So, Jill Whitney talks about the fact that love, caring, and attention definitely matters in a relationship, right? But that's not enough, right? Like we said, it's not enough. There's a need for common values, life goals, and compatibility about money, right? You can love yourself, but if you don't have compatibility around money, you're going to have issues. One person feels that you should have an NGO or a foundation. The other person doesn't understand why you have an NGO when he needs to buy a boat, another car, So those things need to be worked out, otherwise there will be conflict. I mean, there's nothing, neither is right or wrong. It's just difference in personality, and the two need to discuss on how to respect the three people in that relationship, which is you, me, and we. Gallagher has to read and says marriage is as much a business relationship as it is a romantic relationship, right? And that's why we're talking about business earlier on, that, you don't have to have a company to have a business. Everything we do is a business transaction. Life is a business transaction, right? Every time we talk to somebody, you're buying something, selling something, discussing with someone, promising someone something, living up to it. All of those are business transactions, right? And it helps you know how to do it well, right? So it says too many people don't realize this and they forget about it in the true romantic attraction, right? People miss the fact that life itself is a business transaction. Nordstrom adds to it and says, suddenly income and finances are the biggest reason couples fight or even break up. So there's a need to discuss that, and come to a level ground that works for the family, And so some people avoid it. It's all right, let's stay away from that issue. That issue is the one that only brings trouble. You keep it to yourself, but you are boiling inside. Right, and all of us have a boiling point. Right, if you don't discuss it, you're going to blow up one time. It might just blow up at the wrongest of time. So it's good to treat issues. It's good to handle issues. My experience of marriage is the fact that it's always good to address issues. Don't leave issues, lying and, because it breaks up at the wrongest of time. That's why people have to divorce after 25 years, because they've been managing the issues they should have resolved when they were 5 years in marriage. Right, because if you don't marry it, it's becoming a monster. It only gets worse and more difficult to handle. So if you leave it for 20 years, it now has a lifespan of 20 years. It's more difficult to resolve after 20 years than you could have resolved it when it was just 5 years, right? That's what causes divorce, of people after many years of marriage. And you wonder why. Why you divorced after 30 years, 25 years, 40 years, because they did not deal with the issues they need to deal with, at the right time. So it becomes such a big one, and you now say, oh, I cannot live with it again. But you can't solve it. You can't solve something you've allowed to go for 20 years. You're not going to solve it in one day, 1 week, 1 month. It's going to need time, all right, to resolve, but then people have whatever reason are not able to wait, and that's what causes trouble. But the key thing is to be able to discuss money issues between anybody in a relationship with and resolve the issues. And it has to be a win-win. You're not shooting for a win-lose. Everybody has to be fairly taken care of. You know, uh, so that's important. And that's just the 5 things that we're just going to discuss here in order to be able to enjoy money as a relationship, as a family. The first thing is we need to accept one another, accept that we're different. We're not the same. My wife is a woman, I'm a man. That alone, we're different. We're wired differently, right? Again, because of where she's placed in the family, we're different. Because of our parents and our relationship with our parents, we're different. Because of our siblings, we're different. We're just different in any way. And it helps to be able to understand, each person understanding who I am, right? Understanding who I am, then understanding who your spouse is, then come to some common ground, right? So while you're taking care of who you are, who I am, and who we are, who do we want to be in this relationship? You need to define all 3, then begin then to help all 3 to grow, So number 2 is the key thing. We need to communicate, right? We need to talk about it. There's nothing too big or too small to talk about. It needs to be ironed out, Assumption would say is the lowest level of knowledge. If you assume, you could always assume wrongly. You might just be suffering in silence, in vain, something that is not even existing in existence, only because you did not discuss and talk about it, and get over it, Anyway, in doing talking, it's important, obviously, to be respectful of each other's personality and each other's upbringing, each other's financial goals and priorities, right? Nothing should be discounted, right? Respect it. It's important that in discussing and coming to some agreement, there's respect, of each other's position, and then create the necessary boundaries, boundaries come in different ways. For me, boundaries are, might be around the things I do for my family, might be the things we do for each family, and it helps to work out what works best. That means you have your account, I have my account, we have our account, right? And I should be able to spend money on what is mine, the way I choose to do it, So we need to work out whatever boundaries works for you. The key thing is that whatever helps that relationship, and does not create unnecessary disharmony, as it were. I don't ever check my wife's accounts. I don't ever even check her phone. She's free to use her money whichever way she chooses to. And I expect the same of myself, even as much as I open up everything to her. We need to respect each other's individuality without hurting the relationship, the marriage, And the last thing is just in all of that, we need to be fair to one another. It has to be a win-win or no deal. It's not a win-lose or lose-win. Everyone has to be fairly taken care of, and be happy in the union to be together, That's all I really have. I'm done, unless you have any question for me.
No, I don't really have any question. I mean, like you said, every family is different. Like my husband and I, we have joint all our money goes together. I don't have any. I think it's based on your personality. I'm the oldest.
Absolutely.
He's the youngest, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
I really don't care. I'm someone that I don't care. Like
Mm-hmm.
the money is there. I don't even look in the account. I don't care, except if I need to Zelle somebody. Yeah, then I log in and do, and he tells me, "Oh, can you Zelle the person?" Or if I need to, but it works for us because we have a goal and everything is in one place. We know what we have. Because he manages everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know the password to pay bill or anything. So he he manages everything. But like you said, every personality is different. everybody's different, and everybody do what works for their family. I'm not a big
Absolutely.
spender. I don't like to shop. That's it.
Mm,
I don't like to shop, so I'm not a big spender. He too is not a big. He doesn't like to. I mean, he's not a big spender.
mm,
So he's a big saver, but he's not a risk. He's definitely not a risk taker.
mhm. Yeah.
And I like to help people.
Mhm,
Right, so I like to help people, but also knowing that, just like you, is that I have a family. I have younger siblings, that
mm.
are not yet
Standing on
uh
their feet.
right, and still living in Nigeria. And so I have to I'm doing more of this, of the help, of the helping that he is, because he's the baby
Mm,
of the family.
mm,
So yeah. So, but I am not a risk taker either.
mm.
Right, I'm not a risk taker either. I have ideas, but I'm not a risk taker, and I think it's not good. Sometimes, because
Yes.
both of us are not risk takers, right? In terms of like creating generational wealth, it's like,
Mm. It's both good and bad. I mean, both
yeah,
of you are introverts. So, being
right,
introverts, both of you are deep thinkers, right?
right,
You're deep thinkers. You want to cross your T's and dot your I's
right,
before you take a step, right? It has its good and it has its bad. You have to focus on the good and not be swallowed up by the bad, right?
right,
So everything is neither good nor bad. It all depends on the way you use it, right? To be a deep
right,
thinker is good. Something you should hone. I'm an introvert. I'm a deep thinker, but then you have to recognize also there are shortfalls to it
right,
and guide yourself against the shortfalls, right?
right.
So that means you don't continue thinking and planning forever. You have to
Forever.
give
Hmm.
yourself no understand that you don't need to know everything. You just need to know have a good enough data and then go out, right? You don't need to know
Right,
100% to take the decision. You learn from every decision. You satisfy yourself that you have done your due diligence. You have done as much as you can do, right? It's the 80
right.
20, right? If I've done about 80%, then I really don't have to kill myself on the 20, because nothing is going to be ever 100%.
Right,
So, yeah. So you just need to, and you have to learn. It's something you learn because being a deep thinker, you're, you have the risk of ever planning, never executing,
right.
right? So,
Which is what we both are. I
yes,
mean, yeah,
yeah,
I like, yeah, we both are like that. Like, my husband is a analytic thinker. I'm like that too, but he will analyze everything. Okay,
yeah,
if we do this, where are we gonna get this money? It's like he wants to see the money in his bank. He wants to,
yeah,
he has to analyze everything, and I'm like, hey,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
we getting older, and I mean, we're not old, but getting older, and
yeah,
it, the time to create that will start, creating something is now. We can't wait, but
absolutely,
if
absolutely,
he's the leader of the home, so I don't want I mean, I don't know what way to go. I just get ideas, but we
yeah,
have to execute it together, right? He has to
absolutely,
ultimately
absolutely,
execute it, because
yeah.
I expect
You
him
have
to
to keep
execute it.
talking. You have to keep
Yeah.
talking. You have to keep
So
communicating.
yeah, and he doesn't have a lot of friends. I think that's the biggest thing, is that he doesn't have a lot of friends.
You,
Um, he doesn't
you're,
have
you're,
friends.
you're, you're all that he needs. Every other thing is
Right,
addition.
right,
He
but
has to.
yeah, but that's not good too, because like for me, like for instance, like yesterday I went, like, no, a couple of days ago I went out. I met a group of ladies
Mm-hmm,
who they're trying to sell insurance, right? Trying to sell
mm-hmm,
life insurance, and
mm-hmm.
talking about having a whole life index insurance, blah, blah, just they're just selling, trying to sell their market. But going there,
Absolutely.
kind of gives, me, I like to just go, and support people, even though I'm not going to
Interact.
do it because
Yeah, yeah,
I already have a life insurance.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I like to go because I kind of, you exposed to information
Absolutely.
that you don't know, right? That you don't know. You're exposed to a lot of
Absolutely.
information because, like, they
Yeah.
were talking about, living tax free. The
Mm-hmm.
millionaires mindset. All these
Mm-hmm.
things about that. I think you've talked about it before,
Mm-hmm.
but it gives me talking to people, other
Mm-hmm.
women who are doing
Other
doing
things.
real estate, doing some other things, and
Absolutely.
tell you, like one lady will tell me that, oh, that you don't have to buy a house to have real estate. You can buy land.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, but if the land is 250,000, I don't have 250,000. And she's
You
like,
don't
no,
have to
no,
have
the bank,
250,000.
yeah, it's like, no, there are lands you have to go further in, and the bank can finance it for you, blah, blah. So
Absolutely.
all those information, like, it gives you the avenue to kind of get wisdom, right? There's wisdom, get see what's
Absolutely.
out there. Because
Absolutely.
if you're cocooning your house, you're not going to know
You're
what's
not going to
happening.
know.
You're not going to know
Absolutely.
what's happening. So that's the thing, is that,
Absolutely.
I'm like, I have more, more. I get opportunity to have to go to things, activities, than he
Yes.
does. So it's like nobody is talking to him that,
Yes.
oh, this is what's out there. Come on, let's go.
You are.
Pull him and say, okay, come, let's come. There's something came up. Oh, come, let's see if we can invest in it. Nobody. So yeah,
It's gonna take his time, because it is who he is. Uh,
right,
it's gonna take its time. You don't want to rush it. You can if
right,
you need you need your feet on the ground to change. You don't want to change in such a way you don't have your feet on the ground. It
right,
could also be catastrophic because this is the world he is used to, is the person he's used to, right? So
right,
it needs to change in an assured way, right?
right,
So the first set of that is all that you are getting. You need to help him by feeding him all this data. If you are gaining value, let him see the value you're gaining enough that he has interest to start shifting in your direction. So you are
right,
his influence, right? Don't um, look down on the fact that he's not doing enough. Look down that you are taking the heat for the family, right? You are able to, so use it and then share with him and keep influencing him such
right,
that he feels interested to go to the source himself,
right,
right?
right, right,
Yeah. So I mean, he needs to get. You need to influence him, and influence
right.
him without making him feel belittled
Mm-hmm.
is important.
Right,
You
right,
know, it needs to
right,
be a win-win. So you are able to get it. So go take the heat for the family. And you know that because he's the decision maker, you need to
right,
supply him that data because being a deep thinker is useless if you don't have data, right?
right,
Your deep thinking
right,
is only as good as the data you have, right? So you're getting that
right,
data, share it, discuss it as a family, and keep doing it. Don't ever feel that it's a waste of time or anything. Keep doing it because someone needs both of you are in the same boat, and
right,
you, irrespective of who is doing what, it's not important. The important thing is that that boat is sailing and that boat is
right,
growing. Right. Yeah. So right
right,
now you are the one that has that opportunity. Keep on getting it. Keep on sharing it. Keep on sharing it. And hopefully one time it will at least shift a bit, to go and get it from the source himself. But until then, you have to keep influencing it.
the only thing is that I don't know when it's gonna ever really get good friends, and that's my prayer about, I
It,
don't
it
know if he
will.
needs that, but
It will.
it's I feel like, okay, sometimes I feel like, okay, is the time not running out? Like, this people, I meet a lot of people, and how they have like investments everywhere, and you're just looking, okay, you feel like, I feel like, okay, we're just Okay, that is the only
Yeah.
investment we have is the house, right? Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that is it. And now, I'm like, okay. So that's why I feel like sometimes I'm like, okay,
Understand.
how do we get to the place where we're able to get to, where, I mean, I don't want to get to where these people are. It's okay, but it's just having something for the boys, so that,
I know.
and
I
for
know.
ourselves. So when we retire, it's just not having to depend on social security.
Absolutely.
So, but if I get the information and I share the information and then we don't do anything about it in the next 10 years, it's like I feel like, okay, time is running out. Like, I don't know if so.
You have
That's why I'm
you
like,
have
okay,
to.
all this wealth thing. Okay, I get information. It's like sometimes I feel like the information is like too much for me because I'm not executing anything. Right? Okay,
Absolutely.
like this,
Absolutely.
like with this book. Okay, I'm getting all this information, but what am I
Yeah.
going to do with it? What am I going to do with the information that
Share
I have?
share with you. Share with your husband.
Okay.
You have to share with your husband. And if he has any question, you feel free to let me know. I can come in and talk about it. You know, it we just need to influence him, right, without making him feel bad or in any way. It's gonna have to come from deep within to make the shift.
And even
You
for
know,
me too. Even for me too,
I
it's
know.
like, even for me too, I need to get more. I need to read more about these things,
Absolutely.
because like the event we went to, if you see all the books that this lady has read, the millionaire's mindset, I'm like,
I know. I
and
know.
so many books, it's like, if you don't know
Yeah.
the system, the thing is that some people know the system in America, right? They know
Yeah.
how the tax breaks and everything.
Yes.
If you don't, and it begins to dawn on me that the country wants you to know what you want, what
Absolutely.
what you know, but you have to go dig the information for yourself. It's like, okay,
Absolutely.
so you can get tax breaks on this, you can get tax breaks on
Absolutely.
this. You
Absolutely.
you will never know it if you don't read or kind of dig in, right? If you
If
don't
you,
kind of read and dig in what the real what how you can get so much,
yes.
so that's I think that for me that's the most frustrating part of it. It's like,
That's
a lot of people have this information and I don't.
well. Then you have to make it's good. First of all, that you know that they do and you don't. That's a starting point. But because you know they do and they don't tells you need to set a goal to get what they have.
Right.
Right? There are people that don't know that this information is out there. You are a step ahead because you know it's out there. The next thing now is to work a strategy to get it, right? And then you then have to be so you need to be pushing, pushing, pushing. I mean, Rome was not built in one day. So you
Right.
don't feel bad that Rome is going to be built over a certain period of time, right? Life is never in a hurry, right? So take your time. You don't know it, don't be in a hurry. Just take it one step at a time. Whatever you learn, try and apply it, right? Because if you just gather information and don't do anything about it, it's useless,
Right.
right? Because there is knowing and there's what you know by reading and there's what you know by applying.
But
They won't
blind.
tell you
Right.
everything.
Right.
They won't tell you everything. You will only find out some things by doing it, not just by reading it,
Right.
right? So you need to apply it also, but don't bite too much of the cake. Just bite enough that you can chew, right?
Right.
And you learn by doing that.
Right.
Because you're not a big risk taker. Don't bite more than you can chew. Don't bite something that if it fails, your world will fall apart. Don't do
Right.
that. Take it in little chunks that you can handle. If everything loses, it will not change your lifestyle, right?
Right.
But you will
Right.
learn by doing that,
By doing that.
So take the baby steps. As you get comfortable with the baby steps, you might then be able to take the giant steps. But don't start with the giant steps. Take the baby steps.
Right.
You know,
Right.
yeah. So it's learn, discuss, decide. So don't stay too much aloof. Okay, if you stay too much aloof and say, "Oh, I'm not the decision maker. I'm not the this," you're setting yourself up for frustration,
Right.
right? You need to get more involved. Don't just say 100%, my husband does this, I do this. No, there has to be an overlap in that responsibility,
Right.
meaning that once I get the information, we discuss the conclusion that, all right, let's try this. Let's not do too much of it. Let's just do a little so that we can learn from the little, see the results. It can
Right.
either be failure or pass. If it's failure, we've learned what not to do. If it's pass, we learn something that we can do more of, you know. But
Right.
staying aloof and saying, oh, this is my job, this is not my job, will not help you, because 10 years down the line, it's going to be frustration and regret. And you don't
Right.
want that.
Which is that I don't want.
So there
I
needs to
don't want.
be,
Yeah, and that's what. And
right.
that's what I was. I mean, I was discussing with him that when I came back, about the information that I got, I'm like, I don't want us to live in regret in the next in 10 years time or 20 years time that we're not able
Absolutely.
to get stuff done.
Yes.
I know that we have a lot of responsibility, like from especially for me being the older one, but
Yeah.
you know,
It has to be all part of a plan, you know.
right,
Well,
right,
you always have responsibility, but
right,
if you face that responsibility alone and not do anything for growth, you're gonna have trouble. That's why we
right,
do the plan. We do different financial plans. You
right.
must always plan for growth, irrespective of how much
Mm-hmm.
responsibility you
Mm-hmm.
have, right? Because you want sustainable development. If all you
Right.
focus on responsibility, you are not growing.
Mm-hmm.
So you must always grow, irrespective of the responsibility you have.
Go
You don't
have, yeah.
focus on your responsibility at the expense of your growth.
Right.
Growth must be a continuous process. Otherwise, you're always going to be a servant to
Right.
money, right? Every kobo, every dollar you get, you must always set free some money to go to make money to go work for you, right?
Right.
If you don't do that, you can never retire,
Right.
because you can only
That's true.
retire
That's
when
it.
money
You
is
have to
working
have,
for you.
yeah, and that's what the person was saying. One of the person that I mean was saying that like your money has you have to look at your money as like as a seed. You have to
Absolutely.
send it to somewhere where
Work
it's
for
going
you.
to like you said, grow for you. Because I said, look, I don't have to do business. It's not my thing. I don't like stress. She said, you don't have to be like you said. You don't have to be a business. You don't have to start a business, but you can send your money
Absolutely.
to work for you. You know,
Absolutely.
you send your money
Absolutely.
to work for you. You have to see your money as a seed. You put it where it can generate wealth for you.
Yeah. People are growing money every day, right?
Yeah, it's
Exxon
amazing.
stock, Exxon stock has doubled within the year,
Hmm.
right? Exxon stock used to be 40 something. Today is knocking on $100.
Exxon Mobil.
Exxon Mobil, yes. So people are making money every day. It's a matter of just being where money is being printed, right? Which is you have to be exposed, and you learn by doing, right? You learn by doing. There are some losses, but once you have a good stock, the loss is only temporal. It's going to come back up at the right time, right? So you
Right,
learn which ones to go in, which one not to go in. There are some that go to zero. Those Chinese stocks are the risk of going to zero. So yeah, you probably want to stay away from those Chinese stocks. But there are stocks that have good fundamentals, irrespective of where they
right,
are each one in time.
right.
Over time, they're going to make
It's
back their
amazing.
loss.
I mean, it's amazing. Tesla. Like sometimes
Tesla,
I'm like
yeah,
shaking my head. I'm like, it's
yeah.
amazing how Tesla, it's crazy. People that bought it
People,
initially, I can imagine. Look at how much.
people have made serious money from Tesla. People have made serious money from Apple. You know, yeah, people have made serious money from Microsoft.
Right.
People have made serious money from Amazon. People
Amazon
have
too.
made
Yeah.
serious money from Facebook, even though right now Facebook has lost close to 50% of its value. But it's only temporal, right?
Yes.
They're going through some business changes, right?
Right.
Even though the value is lost 50%, if you stay with it, you'll recover all that money back,
Right.
you know. Yeah. yeah, so those are things, and you don't have to bite too much at a time, right? You can take your time and do it in little bits, and learn as you go along the way.
Right.
But you don't learn by staying away and keep on analyzing. You have to execute also.
Right.
So both of you need to have more engagements together, and you don't want to stay aloof, you know. And
I I I I am. He's going to tell me. I mean, he do. I mean, he talks to a few people, but you taking the plunge, like even even just opening the stock account, it took him 2 years. So he's
yeah,
like, you have to keep on talking, and So, but
feel f-
I
feel free to send it my way when you need to.
it took him 2 years for him to even get one. It's like, and he's not even. I don't think he has added any since then. He has not even added any. So he's okay. So his thing is that he doesn't want to, he he doesn't he's not into like all this, doing it. He wants someone to do it for him.
There are people that can do it for you, but
So
it's going to be at a fee,
yes,
right?
I feel so
Yeah.
that's the
So
thing. It's like, okay,
you have portfolio investors, right? So that's
well,
available also, but you need some minimum amount there,
right,
probably up to maybe like 50,000, or there are
right,
different categories, and so maybe from
right.
20,000 upwards. If you have that, you can give them that money, and they'll go do all the
I'm talking
investments.
saying hi. Huh? Let me say hi to him.
Hello,
Come on, say no. He can't hear you.
I
He
can
can
hear
hear you
you.
now. He can hear you.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Uncle Anna.
I'm well, I'm well. We're talking about investment as a whole.
Oh, okay.
So it seems we need to have more talk. It's been a long time we talked about it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, we're going through this book, so today is the last part of it, talking about how relationship affects enjoying money, just talking about different money personalities and all of that stuff, and
Okay.
I know both of you are introverts, just like I am. So both of you are deep thinkers, and the problem with being deep thinkers means that you can analyze to death without executing, but execution is king, so you have to know that it's okay to analyze. It's a good trait, it's a good strength, but analyzing to death is a weakness, so you have to guide against that weakness, and
Yeah.
so you need to execute at some point in time, but you still need to execute in a way that is comfortable for you, right? You don't want to execute like someone who's a pro, right?
Yeah.
You have to execute based on what you can handle, the amount of risk you can handle. So
Yeah.
you take baby steps until you learn enough, then you can take bigger steps, So nobody's saying that you must put in like 10,000. You have to ask yourself, what is it that I'm willing to lose and I will not lose sleep over? And just take those baby steps and learn by the time you do each one of them.
Yeah.
And there are just so many options, out there. You can do all of that yourself. And if you feel that you don't want to do that, part of the baby step is, just giving it to a portfolio manager, to do all that managing for you, So there are various options out there, and I have deep all of them, So there is the option of I used to have Motley Fools, where they invest in several things, there are different products, they've since closed down. What they've done is they've changed that stock from being in-house to being on the stock market. So, but they grew enough that they could do that, and I made good money from them,
Okay.
while doing that, but there are probably other people like that. So you just have to find out, but yeah, it's learning and trying. And you don't have to take any risk more than you can take. You don't want to be like me. Years ago, I used to do a lot of paper investing, and I lost a lot of money. While other people were making money in the market, I was investing on paper. That's
Yeah.
stupid. So because time is going,
Yeah.
and you don't learn unless you're there, in the market. You just have to do it at whatever is convenient or comfortable for you as a person.
Yeah.
That's what's important. We're all different, What someone else will put $50,000 to, someone else cannot put more than $2,000.
Yeah.
Earlier on in the year, I put 40,000 in the market, and I used it to buy the big stock.
Yeah.
I bought the Amazon, the Facebook, the Microsoft, Tesla, all of that, and it wasn't a good year for them. They all dropped at different rates, but I know that they're good stock. So even though they've dropped, I know they're going to get back. Some of them are close. Some of them are close to getting their value back within the year. Tesla has done the one for 20. Amazon has done the one for 20. So yeah, but you're gonna get that value back. So to say it's managing the time also, and all of that. Man, you're not gonna know all of this unless you are inside the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Don't let me talk more. I'm going to shut it down here, but feel free. Let's talk. But we need to move. We need to move and not just stay aloof.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
so
you.
As a commitment I'm getting from you, we need to move. And call me anytime. Call me anytime. Let's talk about it. Your finance is my finance.
Yeah.
Your joy is my joy. We're family. So let's make it work.